Well, your dad was very impactful on the sport again. He won the Mr. Olympia championships in 1967, 68, and 69. In the 1983 Mr. Olympia, Samir Banu named his son Sergio after your dad. That's how impressionable your dad was on Sergio Oliva, Samir Banu, who came from Lebanon to win the 1983 Mr. Olympia. The name Junior, it's a very heavy name to carry. So I'm assuming at this stage that if you had a son, that you're not going to name him Sergio Oliva the third.
Definitely not.
And that's because what? Tell me.
I want him to be his own person. I feel like I can be my own person once I establish myself. There's going to be this time period where, especially once I start doing things that he did, touching weights, being in a gym, training people, you're just going to be compared to that person. And yeah, I know that maybe a couple years down the road, people are going to stop comparing me to him as much as they are now. It's always going to be a comparison, and that's okay. But to be able to just start from day one of your life, only compared to decisions that you've made and things that you've done in your past, man, that's priceless. I can't even imagine how that would feel to, you do a curl and no one's telling you that your arms look like someone else or they don't look like someone else's. And I want that for my kid. I want him to be his own person. I mean, and let's not forget, too, he's still going to have the name Oliva, so it's not like he's going to get that far away from it.
Right. Well, we've only got 13 Mr. Olympia champions in the 52-year history. This will be the 53rd coming up in September. And your dad has 3 of those titles. Amongst those other 12 guys, his name will live on in immortality regardless of what happens with the state of your career. What would be the feather in the cap? Everybody wants to be Mr. Olympia, but what else do you want to accomplish in this industry? For me, it took me around the world. It made me an international household name, and I was able to find areas to give back in this sport and help others. What's going to make you happy when you're not on that competitive stage?
If I win or if
When it's all said and done, it's over.
I want to be in this sport forever. I would love to be like you, interviewing new and upcoming bodybuilders, passing on knowledge that I've learned. For some reason in the sport, guys feel like they don't want to give their secrets away and they don't want people to forget about them, when if you kind of instill your knowledge into people coming up in the sport, it's almost like now you're living on through them. And that's what I tried to explain to my dad the last time that we spoke when we went to the Olympia. The last time I saw him was at the 45th anniversary. And he didn't realize, a lot of people, like I was saying the other day, they don't even know who he is, in the sport. And I think that would have been really cool, that I'm almost bringing back memories of my dad by me just doing it. And I felt like that would have been enough reason for him to want to be a part of it. But that's what I would want to do, is I would want to be able to say that I helped this guy out. Even just traveling and interviewing, I would like to have my own show. I'd like to have my own gym.
What about a family? You want to have some kids running around there? What's the end game?
Yeah, of course I want to have a family. I want to have a huge family. But it's not a coincidence that there's never been anyone to win the Olympia with a child in the house. And there's just certain things with bodybuilding where exactly you can nitpick, oh, that person did this and that person did that. But in 13 Mr. Olympias, it's not a coincidence, and that's just not a statistic that you can ignore, that no one's having little kids running around in their house and they're also holding up a Sandow. And that's scary when you think about it. Because at some point, you do have to start to think about it being too late to have kids and stuff like that. And I don't know, I really tell you the truth, I haven't even thought about that.
Well, it's a very selfish sport, obviously, because it's all time consuming. And with that being said, I mean, you got to be eating a small village when it comes to the grocery shopping and preparing the food. You just got done doing this hardcore workout. What are you going to eat?
Fish. Yeah, fish and more fish. No carbs. I already had my carbs. I got one little bit of carbs, and I used it for the energy for this workout. And I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna eat, and I'm gonna come right back, and I'm gonna do my second session of cardio. I close this gym down every night from 11 to 12. I'm gonna do some posing, and then you wake up and you do it all over again.
Are you a bodybuilder that sometimes feel lonely and isolated, like you're the only one going through this? I know my mind was always working against my competitors. I always thought I'm on the West Coast, so by the time I get up, Kevin Leverone's done working out. Rich Kaspari was done working out, and that kind of reminded me I got to do the business. But are there some areas of darkness for you on this journey?
That's interesting. I never thought about it like that way. No, I feel like the more boring my life is, the more professional bodybuilder I'm being. The more that means I'm more structured. That means there's not anything implementing my structure, and it's not messing me up in my schedule for my day. And this is only also when I'm getting ready for a show. I feel like I don't go to school. I don't have a boss. 19 weeks out of the year, I have to kill myself with a diet. I don't go out. I don't see people. And you know what? To tell you the truth, it's a really good way. If you ever want to try and figure out who's really there for you in your life, get ready for a bodybuilding show, because the people that can stick with you through a diet are the ones that are for sure in your corner, and they do care about you. So it's an easy way of filtering out people that really don't even care about you.
Yeah, I know that it's a very lonely, isolated road, because this is something we self-impose, and it's not fair to drag other people through it. But it seems like they're there in the end, and I'm happy to see them. I actually box everyone out. But when it's all said and done, Mike Tyson said he was at his best when he was training for a fight. Do you sometimes think that maybe not training for a competition, you can kind of lose your way and lose the focus of what you're trying to do, which is why maybe Dexter competes so often?
Yeah, I mean, that would make tons of sense, because when I can eat whatever I want, I actually don't eat that much. You know, I'm constantly like, oh, what do I want to eat? Where I already know it's 2 hours. I already know what the next meal is. So I'm actually a way better bodybuilder when I do get ready for a show, for sure. But I think I do have to have that break. I couldn't be a Hidatati where you're doing 9 shows a year. I can't. I gotta have a break mentally to be able to go all the way in this. And that's just how I am right now. That's how I feel.
If you could change one thing about the sport of professional bodybuilding that you're about to step into next week, what would you want to change? Because you've been to plenty shows, you know a lot of pros. What would you like to see change about the sport of professional bodybuilding?
I wish we could be able to separate bodybuilders and fitness people. I wish that people that are professional bodybuilders and professional athletes, and they do put such a toll on their body and make such huge sacrifices, don't have to watch people that are in shape for 6 months out of the year, take tons of pictures and videos and can release them throughout the whole year, and you watch them make more money than these guys that are coming close to death. I mean, some of these guys, yeah, I mean, there's guys in the history of the sport, they're getting their water from apples. You know, they're cutting it that close, where this guy over here can be squatting this girl on a Segway and films it on a video, and now he's driving around in Lambos. And I feel like that's the worst part about bodybuilding right now, and it really isn't so much about bodybuilding, it's just the fitness industry, that now we feel like we have to compete, and there's just this pot that we're all trying to fight over. And these social media guys, I mean, you know, you gotta give them credit, because, man, they figured out a way to do the least amount of work and the least amount of effort and can make the most amount of money. And unfortunately, that's now turning other bodybuilders against each other, because now if there's only so much money, instead of it being like, hey, yeah, let's get in the gym together and work out together and let's get ready for the show together like it used to be back in the day. You see Flex and Chris pushing each other, and then they get on stage, you know, and now they are seeing the results that they did from the workout they did. Now you see guys fighting on social media, talking shit about each other. You know, you can't even give someone advice without them snapping and making a video about it. With your case, it's making everybody have grudges and this hostility towards one another that I wish we could just kind of get rid of that. But unfortunately, money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, I mean, bodybuilding used to be revered because there were so few of us, and now with these pro cards being handed out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, it seems like everyone has a voice and an opinion, and there's more of the fitness guys than there are the elite bodybuilders, so the respect levels are a lot different. But that being said, have you ever been injured as a bodybuilder?
I've been injured and I've had surgeries, but not from the gym. Knock on wood, thank God. Luckily I always train, I feel like, smart, that I haven't had to deal with that. But yeah, I was born with a hiatal hernia, kind of like how Lee Haney had. Bukowski has it, Dennis Wolf has it, and it's just where it's not from lifting, it's just where your belly button is going to start to protrude out. I knew that that was going to eventually be something I was going to get taken care of. Like Nathan Dasha, he just got his taken care of, and I just felt like if I already know I'm going to go all the way, I want to just eliminate all things that are going to be hurdles later on now. And what that did is that made me sit and be in the NPC while I watch people I beat take off and kill their career. But that's what I'm gambling on. I'm gambling on myself that I made all the right decisions, and it's going to work out in the end run. Because now, you know, Nathan's a good example. He did that New York last year, and it was an insane lineup. You know, you take out Dexter, Aroli, Kuklo, that guy's winning the whole show. Why would he not be doing it this year? He's not, because he's having that surgery, which I already had it taken care of. So I haven't been injured in the gym, but I've had tons of injuries from stuff playing. And then, you know, the hardest part for me is now making myself remember that I'm a professional bodybuilder and that's it. I don't need to be playing basketball. I don't need to be playing football. And that's hard, you know, because you're an athlete and that's what you did, you know, for 19 years of my life. And I went back to Chicago, and my buddies from high school, we had a flag football team going on. I'm like, yeah, why not? One swim move, I knocked my shoulder out of socket. I thought my career was over. I was in a cast, crying all the time. I just thought I just wasted the last 10 years of my life. But I feel like every bodybuilder goes through these things, and that's what I learned even just talking last weekend with Phil, is that every bodybuilder has those stories where, you know what, they thought that was it. But those are the ones that are the real champions, because the ones that deal with those issues and fight back from it and see the light at the end of the tunnel are the ones that make it. Where the ones you never hear about, and that guy's a for sure Mr. Olympia, and now where are they? They weren't able to get through those times.
Give me a final parting shot. This has been a tough road. It's been long 2 years, and finally we're on the eve of the championship fight and the showdown. We're going to catch up with you when you're in New York as well. What advice would you have for someone that wants to be the next Sergio Oliva Jr., no pun intended?
Oh, man. God, I wish it was that easy. I think it's aligning yourself with the right people that will tell you the truth. You know, you see these people that get on stage and they're like, well, I don't get it. I didn't win the show. My mom said I was the best. And it's tough because you have to, sometimes people aren't doing it on purpose. They just care about you so much and they love you that they don't know how to take their eyes off of you and look at other people and really tell you the real truth and look out from an outside point of view. So like Shawn Rhoden told me, you need to have your Fab Five. And those are the five you stick with. Those are the ones that tell you the bad shit to your face and the good stuff behind your back. And if you could always have someone telling you the truth constantly before you do not only invest yourself into something that might be a mistake, you're also investing other people's lives. And you see that in bodybuilding all the time. I see guys that they quit their jobs, they get divorced, all because they're like, oh, I'm gonna for sure make it. I'm gonna be a pro. And you look at them and you know for sure they're never gonna make it. And after a while you start to think, am I that guy? Like, is that me? Like, everyone's doubting me and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna prove them wrong. But really I am. I'm just sacrificing my girl's life and all the people that are in my life. So if you could have people that in your life that tell you the truth and the real truth, that would be the best advice to have. And sometimes that's tough because you gotta be able to take your punches.
Sergio Oliva Jr. ready to make his pro debut on May 20th, White Plains, New York. For Sergio Oliva, I'm Shawn Ray, musculardevelopment.com.